Be real.
Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. Yeah, let's just be honest.
Let's just be.
It's the Scottish invasion of the West Midlands.
Thank
and
you.
talking of which, joining me in
It's
the
the
commentary
first
box is
frame.
Alan McManus to
John Higgins to break.
call the shots in a match that involves two of his friends.
Yes, as John mentioned, they've played a few times recently. Most notably, the recent Indian
Settle
Open
down,
final.
please.
This will be a cracking match today, and quite a prize waiting for the winner, isn't there? After that performance by Ronnie, the winner will play him later.
Of the four players in this group, McGill is the least well known to the general public, but boy, what a talent.
Yeah, I think it's worth playing this red behind the black. I think John can. It looks like maybe avoid a cannon on the red. He's obviously going to cannon into the black. The way it looks to me, like cue ball maybe finish towards that left middle pocket. Not playing it. He's playing a double to nothing.
A potentially big reward had the red gone in. No damage done. No, it hasn't. Apart from the fact that he's going to be placed deep into baulk now.
He's eyeing up the pot here, John. Looking at it from there, the cue ball's going to be going quite close to the black. That's if he gets the pot or gets close to it. Positionally, this isn't easy. Just always sense a little tension in either player in these best of 7 matches. So important to get off to a good start.
Three.
Oh. 25 years ago, before the advent of Ronnie O'Sullivan, just switching to left-handed for a shot like that would have been impossible, unthinkable.
Yeah, we're seeing that more and more on the tour in general, but in particular from Anthony. As long as he's got nothing to do with the cue ball, he's quite content to play with his left hand. Yeah, I mentioned about getting off to a good start.
4.
Yeah, bad enough missing the pot, but look what he's left for John.
I think John Higgins would be the first to agree with this. One of the greatest players of all time, and still capable of producing phenomenal performances. Not quite as consistent though as he was maybe a decade ago.
8.
Yeah, just going back to the miss black by Anthony. Foldsy mentioned it earlier on, didn't he? The Frank Callan method, the 5%. Always remember the pot. Amazing. Even the top players playing into a pack of reds, you just take your eye off the pot for a split second. You find yourself sitting in your chair. Thinking about John, actually, I don't think I've seen him as relaxed in many a long year, and that's on and
16.
off the table. There's a contentment about him. I've not seen him actually play a bad match in quite a while.
17.
In a lot of ways it's the John Higgins of old. He went through a period a few years ago where he was thrown in un-John Higgins-like performances, not at present. He's settled with the cue that he's using. He's chopped and changed a few years ago. The piece of wood he's using now, it seems happy with.
Yes, and that's not always been the case, because even right at the peak of his powers, he was a meddler, wasn't he? Never quite happy. And a little in no man's land positionally there. Not ideal on either green or yellow.
Yeah, and John, for the top player that he is, he's not all that good with the rest. That's why he doesn't really fancy the yellow. Obviously having to play the rest whichever shot he chooses here. You see, he doesn't enjoy using the rest. He's actually on this occasion put the extension on just to get a bit more weight in the cue. He's topping this through, trying to get the white south of the blue spot.
And another tester coming up.
27.
Yeah, he's having a glance to see what he's leaving. Playing this red, the black in the same pocket. Big shot, this the way the reds are. Should be in something easier than this.
Glasgow justice.
said, I think he's done the right thing, just taking a few seconds. I said, it's a big shot, this.
Did really well there. His concentration obviously was disturbed, and yet he potted a really good ball. Not quite out of the woods yet. But he might well be now.
$34. 35.
Actually, this is a lovely angle. The pink's not in play in this shot. You're always going to finish on the one to left middle.
42. $43. $50.
Amazing how much easier you can make this game when you play the right shot, and there's no one better than John Higgins in that respect. But I didn't
John
see
Higgins,
that coming.
50.
That'll be the easiest ball John Higgins has missed this season, I know that. Alright, you had to get the cue out of the way quickly. Playing the screw back, but I don't think Anthony was expecting to be back at the table so soon.
Foul.
Well, he hit that badly.
John Higgins, 4.
To miss the pot by so much. Okay, the in-off was the loss of 4 points, but it was the distance he missed the red by. That was the poor part. Well, playing it like that, the only red he could have left was the one that's gone over the middle pocket. I'm just wondering whether the pink has come to Higgins' assistance. Quite a tense start, Alan.
Yeah. This is tough. You'll see the bridge in here will be really awkward for a right-hander. Oh, top shot.
He could pot one through the gap, and now, okay, the table's not ideal for a counter-attack, but it's okay, it's workable.
8. Nine.
Yeah, clever boy. Just trying to shove it a few inches. Always guaranteed being on the other one.
16.
Every little helps as far as getting those reds further out into the middle of the table. Excuse me, anything but straight in this next pink. You fancy him getting decent on the next
17.
red. That's okay. Screwing behind the one on the left side, just under his eye line there. He didn't play
23.
for it in that pocket, he played for it in the opposite middle. If he can drop this in, he's looking good to make the clearance. It's not easy, we know that, but he's a wee bit fortunate to just land the way he has on this red, providing that as he pots it.
Just grazed the near jaw, but the pace was so quiet. The pocket accepted it.
$29. Anthony McGill, 29.
Always looked as though he'd overcut it from the instant white met red. Higgins, though, needs both reds.
One.
Yeah, checking the scoreboard there, John. He's 22 in front. He'd have liked to play the blue and up for the red, but the brown gives him closer access to the red. But he's still going to need a colour to follow. But that looks guaranteed now with that positional shot.
5. Yeah.
He didn't want to hit that much of the jaw with the brown, but in the end, by doing so, he's done himself a favour.
Yes.
So frame ball coming up.
6. 9. $10. 11. 14. 18. 23. 29.
Not flawless because he missed the red to middle, surprisingly, but pretty efficient. John Higgins makes the desired start from his perspective. He leads 1-0. Out there in the arena,
Anthony McGill
we've
to
seen
break.
Ronnie O'Sullivan beat Neil Robertson 4-1 a little earlier. Now two fine exponents of the game go head-to-head in match number 2.
Thank you.
Good break off that, actually. In the modern day, the modern game, you don't often get that red coming down onto that black cushion, but any time it does, it obviously it just takes away the what we call the dump shot for John Higgins. So he's having to play a 2-cushion get out. Or is he just dropping dead weight on that loose red? Oh, sorry, he can actually find the bottom red, the one on the cushion. Yep. He's left it for Anthony, and it looks like he's got a little angle. For the black in the same pocket. He missed one not dissimilar to this, the tail end of the first frame. See if he plays this left-handed.
8.
I think he's weighing it up, but it might have something to do with the cue ball. Let's just see here. Play that looks like a natural round the back of the black.
9. 16.
Well, that was just a total mishit, miscalculation, mistake.
Anthony McGill 16.
He will feel as though he left the table prematurely, and that's not the most penetrating of safeties either.
Yeah, he's not settled in yet. There's Anthony. You can bet John will recognise that and he'll want to keep the pressure on. Players do sense that, obviously, your opponent. Any match, I mean, these big matches. Some Sometimes it just changes your thinking. You think, okay, this guy's not hitting it good. Just going to keep him at distance. Just for a few shots at least. This is not easy. The key to this thin safety shot, he might even be playing it with a trace aside just to check the cue ball straight back up. But he doesn't want to go anywhere right of the yellow spot. That's brilliant. Covered everything.
McGill, of course, does have the knowledge that he's beaten John Higgins on a big occasion before. 6-5 in the fourth round of the UK Championship in 2014. Higgins played nicely that day at times. A century and 3 other half centuries, but it was McGill who got the verdict. He's more than capable of beating anyone.
Just off straight the long red, but not look very appetising for Anthony just at a minute. He's hit across a couple already this afternoon. This is a big test, especially if he plays it with pace, which I think he has to. No, I hit it good too. Unlucky.
Wrong.
Now the straight pink coming up is a real test of cueing, even though it's at relative short range. Sweet as a nut.
Yeah. That was impressive.
7.
Clever again.
8.
He knew he couldn't get a thick cannon on the black, but used the other red as a little buffer just to hold it, knowing that he was pushing the black towards the corner.
Can't help but think when John Higgins and
50.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, indeed Mark Williams, turned professional in 1992, players in their 40s back then were clinging on by their fingernails, weren't they? Higgins, O'Sullivan, Williams, not surviving, but they're thriving. They're playing beautiful snooker as veterans, and that's great for the game
16.
and great for them.
Yes, in snooker at least your 40s are the new 20s, aren't they? Still playing as good as ever. Those players you mentioned. You could argue even better. Lovely little cannon again.
Yeah. $23. $24.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll just, the little red just to the right of the pink, I'll just play a little cannon in that, just a soft one. Just push it a couple of inches like that, just opens up everything.
31. $32.
And what longevity from John Higgins. He won his
39.
first world ranking title 23 years ago. Also in the
40.
English Midlands, up at the Assembly Rooms in Derby, the Grand Prix. Still going strong.
$46.
A little shorter pace there on the screw shot. The one thing that helps this shot is the brown being off the spot. He'll probably play this 3 cushions. Deciding that he can hold it. And he's been fortunate not to go in off and landed decent on the brown. Say fortunate, not of course to pot the red, but once he made contact with the knuckles of the middle pocket, he'd no real idea where the white was finishing. And now he's back in prime position.
51.
There's a little lesson in this little shot. It's a nothing shot, but he's not playing for the black there, John. He's playing for the
52.
black and the pink. Quite happy to take the black, but it's all about options.
$59. $60.
So the black and one more red needed.
$67.
Taking these delightfully.
$75. John Higgins, 75.
Well, McGill just took a quick look at the scoreboard, and I think he's perfectly correct to carry on. 59 points the difference, 51 on, a couple of snookers needed. Not impossible, unlikely, but doable.
Yes, he didn't have any real aspirations of getting back in the frame, but it's worth playing a shot or two. You just never know, especially where that red was next to the pink. But it looks like 2-0.
Well, that's a good start. The one thing to avoid at all costs is a free ball, so there won't be any extravagance from Higgins.
No penalty points gained, but at least Anthony's got a chance here of getting a couple of red blacks. May even take a red pink, especially with that other. Oh, he doesn't want to move that red. That was the red I was about to say. Could have used that after getting the pink on the spot. Well, it's gone now, I suppose, so taking the pink means it's 9 points and penalties to peel. That would be
7.
so free ball is what you're going to be after.
8.
Snooker's not a certainty, but
15.
I always think playing this shot, at least get the red in bulk. But obviously you don't want it too close to a cushion, you don't want to make it easy to hit. But at least if he was to get it in bulk, and John missed it, John wouldn't be playing it and leaving a chance of a free ball, so he'd maybe have a chance of a snooker and the shot following it, and that is brilliant. To get that in bulk is good thinking. As I say, now John's got to play this slowly, and if he misses the red, Ants is guaranteed a decent chance to get another snooker. Sounds a bit complicated, but it's really quite simple. He actually could play it with pace if he wanted. Cue ball all the way down to this bottom left-hand side.
Yes, we always say a player needs 3 snookers or whatever. What we really mean is 3 successful snookers, and that's an entirely different thing.
Yeah, it equates to about 23 when you're playing John. Yeah, that's right, Phil. It's 3 successful snookers is what maybe we should say.
1.
In Anthony's mind, though, it'll be 2 snookers he needs here. 1 4-pointer and 1 5-pointer. That would be to peel. Or indeed 2 snookers in the blue to win.
$10.
Yeah, he just lost the cue ball there. He just wanted it the top side of the D roughly. And I fancied getting in behind the brown, not so from this position.
Anthony McGill, 10.
It's a full ball snooker in behind the pink. And Higgins just peeking at the scoreboard. He's taking absolutely nothing for granted. Just a little too hard, and really now this should be under frame.
Three.
Being 37 behind with 22 on,
John Higgins, 3.
McGill
Frame.
needed 5 snookers. That's a bridge too far. And so John Higgins, with breaks of 50 and 75, has established a 2-0 lead.
It's a
Already
break.
through to the quarterfinals of the Champion of Champions. Now the title holder is halfway to joining him. That's because John Higgins leads Anthony McGill 2-0 in this race to 4.
I know he's not the best of starts, but a little over ambitious for me. That was a toughie. This isn't a gimme either, but fancy John knocking this in.
One.
See, you don't want to give John too many free gifts.
Foul. John Higgins 1, Anthony McGill 7.
On such small things do matches turn. Had the red caught the far jaw and bounced back? Chance.
I'm surprised he played it that way. I mean, for a player of John's class, there was a basic cannon. Just a little soft stun shot. It was guaranteed on a red. I don't know why he chose to play it with so much pace. Anthony could do with knocking this in for confidence levels. Excellent. The good thing about it is the way he played it. No thought of the easy red left to right middle. Trying to stay positive.
Five. Six.
Well, that was pretty good, and if he's obscured his path to the ready one to the pot, that's a little unlucky. Queuing down on the white, never easy.
Yeah, trouble with this shot. I mean, the pot's difficult regardless of which way you play it, but if you play it softly, playing for the black, you're almost guaranteed to leave it. Coming back for blue makes it harder. This is a tough one. Oh, brilliant shot.
Thank you.
to find the angle as well.
14.
That's first class now. Can he pull out another good shot? Get into the meat of those reds. But make sure the pot. That'll do.
$21.
He's just not getting through the ball
22.
right now. Anthony just gesturing there with his right hand. Just not delivering the cue properly so far this afternoon. Wasn't an easy shot, I'll say that first and foremost, because sort of shot and easy to push, but he's just not putting together a string of shots the way he normally does.
Anthony McGill, 22.
It's all a bit stop-start right now for Anthony, but he'll keep plugging away, you know that. It's obvious to say that Anthony here, he could screw off the pack and the white onto the black cushion, but 28-point lead, he doesn't really want to be bringing the reds into play unless he absolutely has to. That's why he's just playing the roll up. He's hoping that his next shot he can maybe try and get in behind the green. When you're playing John Higgins, he knows all those moves back to front. He'll be looking at what he's leaving Ants there he is right away. He's looking at it and thinking to himself, I'm not going to leave the cue ball where Ants can put me up behind the green. So this cue ball will be left side of the black spot, probably just below the black where it is right now. That sort of line. There you go, the pace in it. Always thinking. Does not give you a second's peace, Mr. Higgins. Just wonder, yeah, he's playing a screw in. He's playing for the black in the right corner. Didn't quite get through it.
1.
We'll have an alternative possible. Golly in behind the black. He can play in behind the green as well, should he wish. Yeah, it'll be behind the green. You're not going to cover all the reds playing in behind the black.
John Higgins 1.
Don't think that was quite the cleanest of contacts on the yellow, hence the cue ball just a little short of being glued to the bulk cushion, as it normally is with John. You're right though, Alan, doesn't he make you graft?
I was just about to say it. He asks you a question every shot when there's a tactical battle going on. He always makes you do something, makes you think. Will John have the trust in the table? Slip off a red here. Just in between green and brown. We could get it thick enough to get the other side. Again, he's asking a question of Ants here. And now he can't leave the cue ball down this end. He's going to have to play the thin sort of regular type safety and has to get the cue ball in bulk. The bump of the middle pocket can be in play as well, this type of shot.
Angles.
Yeah, it just looked on. But what's he left? Fantastic. Match play snooker at its finest. He worked for about 4 or 5 shots like a Trojan to create this opening.
And there's an art form in that, because we've seen lots of players over the years who've been able to boss a tactical exchange, but when they get the
3.
half chance, maybe they've played themselves out of their own potting rhythm. But Higgins can swoop.
Yes, excellent point. Your arm does go cold. You're not in
4.
almost potting scoring mode. But John, like all the top players, can seem to just flick that switch and slip back into gear. He'll already be thinking about that black.
9.
He's thinking now. He'll be sticking to pink for the next 3 reds, and then playing the black and develop at least one of the reds on the side cushion.
10.
He's still thinking about it. Look at those eyes, weighing up all the options. Coming round to check the black after this red. He may fancy it now.
16.
At least he's back in the frame, so he might well decide that now's the time.
Thank you. 17.
didn't get
24.
into it properly. Still has a chance here. They'll be playing top side of the blue, similar to a blue that Luca played last evening. Not quite high enough, but again he can drop in a red if he wishes. It's just that he can't lift the one that's nearest the left middle. Other options abound here though. Don't know if John will be ambitious enough to play the deep screw and maybe try and develop the red off this. Don't think so. He's just playing for the black and then play for a double in the next red. Maybe can't do that
21.
now. John being John, there's other options. Play for the red by the green this time.
The applause,
38.
well merited. Pinpoint.
Yeah, and it looks like he can almost place the cue ball wherever he wishes here to attack this last red. Yeah, gorgeous
39.
angle on the brown, and it's quite a big target, that red. He's not playing it. I think he's playing for the double.
And by and large, he's
43.
really good at this particular shot. Knocks in a very high percentage. And look at the control of the cue ball, not just on the black, but on the black to be on the yellow.
Yeah, it's all right knowing the shots. It's another thing executing them. This has been vintage. Simply stunning break this has been.
51.
Yes, and we've arrived at frame ball.
Six.
The word great is
60.
overused in sport, but it applies to Higgins when it comes to snooker. A player's player.
65. $71.
And it's great Scott. He leads his fellow countrymen 3-0. Ronnie O'Sullivan is already through
Frame
to the
4.
quarterfinals this evening with a 4-1 win over Neil
Anthony
Robertson.
McGill to break.
Now
Quietly,
Anthony McGill
please.
finds himself with a monumental task to try and turn this around against John Higgins. A possible 4 frames left. McGill needs to win all of them.
Let's see what sort of nick his long game is. We know he's looking good in close. the sound of that shot. Music to a snooker player's ears. Click, click, thud.
Eight. Nine.
Well, they say the Johns football team, Celtic, are the invincibles at the moment. He's following their lead. No weakness in any department. Hmm.
16.
That wasn't the best, though.
Yeah, for any professional player, that would have been a poor shot. But it is, it might be a long,
Spider?
extended spider playing this.
I don't know whether because he was hitting down on it so much, the cue actually got
John Higgins,
slightly stuck
16.
in the groove there.
Yeah, that can happen. It's just so awkward. It's a shot you play about once every 5 years. So you don't get any practice at that sort of thing. Now, Vance, see if you can get yourself back into this match now.
1.
Yes, it plays not to give McGill any leeway. Higgins will know that.
8.
Captured 2
9.
ranking titles last season, the Indian Open, and here on RTV, the shootout as well. Another fantastic achievement of McGill's was beating Mark Selby to reach the quarterfinals of the World Championship in 2015. That was the year he was making his Crucible
50.
debut. Just underlines how well he can play.
Yeah, and any top player is dangerous at 3-0 down, best of 7. You almost blow the bugle and throw everything in at it. Oh, he's had a
16.
monster bad contact. That's unfortunate. Just to touch on something, actually, Anthony is one of the players using this mysterious new chalk that some players believe eradicates kicks. I don't necessarily believe that. I suppose they would argue maybe if John's not using it, then it's John's chalk that's affecting the table. But there's been a few kicks this week, but none more or any less than normal, I would say. Yeah, that's a toughie. Yeah, well done. He's not really all that nice on the next red. I think he can snick it in though.
22.
It's plays a bit thinner than it looks on the screen, this. And the other thing is, for a professional playing this, he'd play it with running side. That would be right hand side on this occasion. Of course, that would take the cue ball into the red below the black spot. Wouldn't be certain of where he's going to finish. See, they're just addressing it. Touch of right hand side. Yeah, wasn't certain, but might have the black to middle.
23.
Logo issues. The lucky break.
Let's see if we get the camera shot right in line with this. See which way the black drifts, if any. I think it's been coming down towards the right knuckle. You see it just maybe trying to edge that way, but there was too much pace in it. Tough shot, that.
Caught that far too thick. And you know the old mantra, whatever you do, don't hit the blue. Had that gone in, it could have been the beginning of the end.
Yes, he hit it good too, didn't he? It was interesting actually. John played that little mini butt at the end of his cue. There was no need for it. Maybe just feels more comfortable with that extra, probably 4 or 5 ounces of weight at the end of his cue.
Supreme. Just a lovely contact on the red. Not quite the snooker, but nevertheless very good.
doesn't want the contact on the yellow. He slipped past it, but couldn't help. Shove that red close to the right corner, so where the black is, this is a potential set up a match-winning chance here for John Higgins. That's the control of that was first class. He actually played it with a little tracer check side. Have the confidence to do that.
Well, the side increased the tariff. This time last year, in the Champion of Champions, Anthony McGill acquitted himself really well, I thought, even though he lost in the first round 4-3 to Judd Trump. Today, though, without doing anything spectacular,
9.
this has been a masterclass from Higgins.
Yeah, as I hinted, towards the start of this match, it's
16.
kind of typical of just the way he's been playing of late, John Higgins. It's not been spectacular, but in a couple of bad shots in there, but not much more than that, if that, in fact. Solid in every department.
$17.
And if he does come through, it's looking increasingly likely. We're 3 hours away from a blockbuster.
And just to throw it even more forward, during his career, he has retained
24.
titles in the past. The International Open in the mid-90s. The Welsh Open more recently. In 2010,
25.
2011. If it is O'Sullivan Higgins, the phrase,
32.
when an immovable object meets an irresistible force, something's got to give.
$33.
Yeah, here's the winning shot coming up now. Move the red just left of the pink. This is basic, really, for a player of John's class.
$40. $41. $48. $49.
Looks like it's going to be the second whitewash of the tournament.
$55. $56.
A real quality quarter to frames from Higgins. Alan, you've seen him play for many a year. Even by his standards, this has been really impressive.
Yeah, this is up there. And we now
62.
are faced with a class of 92 reunion 25th anniversary coming up at 7 p.m.
63.
Getting your favourite chair for that one.
Yes, with class being the operative word.
85. 67. 70. 74. 79.
Now, tartan tussle could hardly have been more one-sided.
85.
John Higgins, what a display. 4-0 over and out.